Hello, welcome to Farrell Swim Tech. My name is John Farrell. This is the live stream where I use my 15 years of racing experience and 12 plus years of coaching experience to help you get faster in the water. So, what is the topic today? Today, we are going to be diving back into our freestyle technique series. And this is where I talk about freestyle. When we break it down episode by episode, we're breaking it down into the individual components. So then I help you understand what the terminology is, how it's implemented, and not only that, what can you do outside of the pool in order to really help this item. Because the main problem that most triathletes have is pool time. We don't get a lot of pool time. We're not swimmers. Well, we don't just go to swim practice every day, which you should. And because the more time you spend working on this technique, the more it's going to become second nature. Now, something like body positioning is very hard because you got to be flat. You got to be flat on your stomach in order to really work on this, okay? Well, we're land animals. We're bipedal land animals. In other words, we got two legs and we walk around. And even if you're in a wheelchair, you're still mostly upright. I actually met a guy who's in a reclining wheelchair, but he has severe mental disabilities. So for, I'd say 99.9% of people, we're all upright, okay? So because of this, we don't have a good frame of reference on how to achieve good body positioning with swimming. So what we're going to do is we're first going to, just kind of examine what is good body positioning. And then we'll kind of break it down. And we'll kind of just talk about this, okay? So here we'll start with slow. So even with slow, I show off some good body position. So with body positioning, I tend to talk about 4 points of contact that are 4 points of contact that are with the surface at all times. Back of head, shoulders, butt, and heels, okay? If you have all 4 of those points of contact with the air on a fairly often continual basis, you have pretty good body positioning. Now, the one thing about this is my legs go a little wide, but that's a different episode. But you see, for the most part, and remember, this is about a little slower than 130 per 100. So the head is always at the surface. The back of the head is always seen. The shoulders are always at the surface, rotating back and forth. I mean, shoulders is kind of like the free space on the bingo card, okay? The shoulders always should be at the water surface, because if your shoulders are under the water surface, you're going to have a bad time. So, like I said, on this metaphorical bingo card, the shoulders are the free card, the free space in the middle of the card. You're always going to have it. But the butt and the heels are usually the biggest culprits. Sometimes I see people duck their head down, but 90% of the time, the shoulders are actually at the water surface. So, all right. So now let's go to normal. So this is about 120, 115, 120 per 100. So what you're seeing is the butt is definitely at the water surface. The heels are definitely at the water surface. The shoulders and the back of the head are at the water surface at all times. So right here, this is what you're striving for, 100%. You want to be able to have a nice, long, stretched out freestyle, okay? So what are some reasons why people would not have a stretched out freestyle, okay? So let's talk about some of the reasons why. So usually the first culprit is a terrible kick. Now, in the past, I have done the kicking episode before the body positioning episode, but I feel like this time around I want you to start working on body positioning theory before we get to the kick, because the kick and body positioning are actually really closely linked, and the reason is the knees. Okay. We're really going to dive into this on the kicking episode, but basically, we don't want to bend our knees that much with kicking. We're used to running and cycling and life in general. Most every activity involves us bending our knees. I can't really think of many activities outside of sleeping unless you're my wife and curl up into a ball every single stinking night. Which she believes, she actually told me this, she actually believes the reason why she curls up in a ball was because her dog slept at the foot of her bed as a child. So she thinks she curls up now as an adult because there was less length on the bed. I'm like the complete opposite. I have to be like completely stretched out on bed in order to go to sleep. Anyway, fun personal asides aside, we want to have a long body positioning, and when we bend our knees, that brings it far down below our actual plane. I need to have like a yawn counter on this stream just for kicks and giggles. But what we want to achieve in swimming is length, okay? And the other big problem that we have is understanding that we want to be flat on the water. So how do we be flat on the water? Well, we gotta envision ourselves as flat on the water, okay? And that's hard to do when you're standing up. Like I'm standing here, and we talk about stroke positions. Like, well, you put your arm out, and that's not the right. This is not being flat on the water. This is actually putting, like, if you're using your face as your frame of reference, where I always go, okay, imagine your water line's here. Imagine the water line's here, okay? Where if the camera is metaphorically on the bottom of the pool and you're looking up at me, this is pushing my hand down towards the bottom of the pool. That's not reaching across the water surface. So like I said before in the previous episode, we need to kind of rotate our frame of reference 90 degrees. We need to be thinking about up in the sky is reaching towards the other side of the pool. The wall you push off from is the floor. The wall you want to get to is at the ceiling, okay? So we really want to think about this way. We're going to go back to the bench, and we're going to kind of discuss some things. We're going to talk about some things. So here we go. So we're going to go. No, we'll start with standard camera. Yeah. We'll start with standard camera, but I'm going to switch. Okay. So basically what we're doing, and I know I'm wearing the best pants this morning. So what we're doing is we want to envision ourselves reaching up, and I'm totally feeling my ab workout from yesterday. It's like right in here, I just want to die right now. So we want to be comfortable reaching up towards the ceiling, okay? Because when we bring our arm up, this is where we want to put our hand in the water. Then we're going to push down, okay? So this essentially is where we want to be, okay? We don't want to be here. And if you're here, your face is actually pretty far underwater, okay? So when we're talking about body positioning, we want to envision up to down, okay? So when we kick with our knees, we're bringing our hips towards us. So we need to think of our body like a teeter-totter. And this is one of the other major problems with swimming and why it's so hard to understand it. Because when we're in water, it's not concrete. So that's why doing stuff here on dry land, it will only get us so far. We definitely need to spend some time in the water working on this. Now, in water, things get weird because if I push myself forward, my backhand will start coming up. If I bring my shoulders backward, we're going to push the bottom end down. So what we want to do is we want to start working on length without pressure. And the way we want to do that is we want to engage different areas of our body. Okay, so if I think about it, I'm standing up here straight. If I engage my lower back, that's going to drive my hips forward. Okay, my hips come forward, my shoulders come back. If I engage my abs, which this hurts, I'm going to bring my hips backwards, and I'm actually bringing myself forward. You know what? And we're gonna swap back to the chair real quick. There's something I kind of want to diagram out for you. That, and we're gonna bring up my good old friend Paint 3D. Woohoo! Okay. And analytics scene, and here we go. Okay, so here's the deal. So what we have is we have a beam. Okay? We have a concrete beam. This is what I do for a living, kids. I don't actually get to design concrete beams that much. But anyway, so when you're designing concrete beams, okay, we want to put that looks like garbage. That you can't see that. There you go. Let's get a good dark red there. Okay, so we want to put in our steel. Okay, so we want to put in our steel in the beam where it smiles. Okay, so let's say I put a load down there. Okay, I go and sit on this beam. This beam is wanting to do this. Okay, the beam wants to do this. So in the bottom part of the beam, we want to put our reinforcement steel. Okay, so if you look at a beam from the side, you're gonna have a couple bars of rebar stuck at the bottom. Okay, so if you ever see a concrete beam, this is what it looks like, and you got a little steel rebar in the bottom. Okay, maybe you'll have one here, and then you'll have something hooping around and tying them all together. Okay, that's what a basic concrete rebar looks like. Why on earth are we talking about this? Well, because what happens is our bodies are kind of like this concrete beam, where if we put load or we put tension on the wrong side of it, we'll actually curve our bodies. Okay, so that's kind of what we're doing here. Is what we're trying to do is we're trying to add reinforcement to the right part of our body, so then we actually are able to pop it back into place. This was a little ingenious thing I thought about the other day. So if this doesn't make sense, I apologize. But basically, we're trying to support ourselves over the span. Okay, now, wow, I'm throwing way more engineering terms in here. I'm gonna stop. All right, so let's get back to our there you go. Let's get back to the back here. Okay, so when we're talking about all this stuff, what does it mean? So when we're on the bench here, let me get on the bench here. All right. Yeah, let's do side cam. All right. Okay. So when you're swimming, okay, we basically want to be about here. Okay. We want to be about here. We want to have our head, I like to have my head about here, You can have your head about here. And we want to be nice and flat on the water, okay? So if we drive our knees down, that's going to drive our hips down, okay? And this is the problem. It's really hard to show with a stiff bench, just because the bench is actually actively resisting our movements, and it's keeping us nice and flat. But even so, with the bench, we can start working on different items that will definitely help us out while we're in the pool. So first off, what we want to do is, if you have a weight bench, you want to learn how to relax on the weight bench, okay? So we want to be nice and relaxed, and we want to keep our shoulders forward, okay? Want to keep our shoulders forward, and we want to work on streamline, okay? So yeah, streamlining is a little hard on the bench. So we want to work on reaching our hands up and keeping that streamlined position, okay? So what you're going to notice here is you're going to notice your lower back is going to be engaged, all right? There's actually kind of a Superman kind of a pose right here. So what we want to do is we want to just kind of sit here and visualize what's going on. So what you want to do is you actually want to engage your abdominals while you're in your streamline, okay? So activating your abdominals will help counteract your lower back. Basically, engaging our lower back is what we want to avoid at all costs, because when we engage our lower back, you see how my shoulders come up? The shoulders come up, and that's going to be what's your biggest problem with your body positioning. Because we, as humans, don't like water. Water's weird, okay? Water can't be breathed. We cannot breathe the water. So we want to keep our heads up towards the water surface as much as we can. So when we bring our head up, we tighten our lower back. And when we tighten our lower back, that's going to drive our hips down to the water. So we need to become very comfortable being here. But if you're trying to reach your hands forward and you don't engage your core, you're going to engage your front, your abdominals. You're going to engage your lower back, and then this lower back is going to bring your shoulders backwards. So when you're here, we want to become comfortable being in a streamlined position and engage the abdominals. Nothing too crazy, just enough to make them stiff. So then what you can do is you can draw your shoulders back a little bit and then engage your abdominals. And what you're going to find is you're going to find your back kind of snaps into place. So you're here, and all I'm doing is engaging my abs. So here, so shoulder comes back, shoulder comes down. You see how flat that back gets? So once you learn how to continuously just engage the abdominals, you're going to find that your back becomes a lot flatter. And then this is what we're going for. So then as we're swimming, we're able to keep that flat back and keep working in the water, okay? So, man, it is hard to talk like that. Whew. Okay, talk about a nav workout. All right, let's get back to this. So now what we're going to do is we're now going to talk about how to, hold on a sec, but I still got stuff in the back of my throat. Give me a sec, I'm going to mute. Sorry, sparing you delicious sounds in the morning. So basically what we want to do is we want to learn how to be able to reach without messing up our body positioning, okay? So what we want to do is we want to just kind of spend some time standing up. Now this is something you can do watching Netflix, you can listen to a podcast. I mean, this is This is a very, kind of a yoga-esque, relaxing range of motion exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand up, and then we're going to spend some time engaging the lower back, engaging the abs. Engage the lower back, engage the abs. So what we're doing is we're working on kind of feeling the difference of engaging the lower back. Okay, just get right here. So like here's my hip bones right here, probably about a couple inches up. That's where you're going to want to focus, because usually when we lift our heads out of the water, that's the part of the lower back that gets engaged. So we want to spend some time working with the lower back, abs, okay? So, and then you want to do this in front of a mirror, so then you can kind of see, okay, I've engaged the abs. Wow, that back's pretty flat. I've engaged the lower back. Wow, my posture's terrible, okay? The more your hips come forward, the more your hips are going to drive underneath the water. So we want to bring it up, engage the abs, flatten out the back. Now what we want to do is we want to keep those abs slightly engaged, and what we want to do is we want to draw the elbow back to lift the hands straight up, okay? And we want to keep those abs engaged while we do this, okay? And then just gently bring that arm down. So then reset, square up. We're going to bring the elbow back to reach up while we keep those abs engaged. So what we want to do is we want to see if we're nice, if our back profile is nice and straight. So you can kind of see my hand crept forward a little bit. You want that hand to go straight up, okay? You want that hand to go straight up, and it wants to be in line with the shoulder, okay? If you want a little more realism, get a little bit more of a rotation in, but keep that ab core engaged. So you want to be here and then just come down, okay? Elbow comes up. If you need to rotate your shoulder a little bit, that's fine. Just don't let your back engage. Keep your abs engaged. Come up and then down. Come up and then down. Come up, okay? So remember, when we come up, we want those fingers pointing up at the ceiling. We want it to be in line with our shoulder. Another thing we don't want to do, we want to have our arm in line with our shoulder. We don't want our arm over here. We don't want our arm over here. So these are visualization exercises that we're doing with gravity, okay? Now, if you're having range of motion issues, I highly recommend you check out my friends at Dynamic Triathlete. Dynamic Triathlete is a great resource. Excuse me. Dynamic Triathlete is a wonderful app that I've been using off and on, mostly because I'm lazy. And they have 20-minute stretching routines. And wait. Oh, yeah. Sorry, buddy found out I was playing a game that he really likes. Okay. Where's my thing? There you go. Support the stream. There you go. Yep. So make sure you're getting your stretching in, and Dynamic Triathlete is going to make this really easy for you. This is an app you can download on your phone, access it from your computer. It has 20-minute stretching routines. A lot of it focuses on the lower body, but they actually have a good amount of stuff for the upper body as well. Lots of, fair amount of stuff for the shoulders and things of that nature. They actually have some good warm-up routines for swimming. I haven't tried those yet personally, but I use their warm-up routines for cycling and running, and it's about 6 minutes, and you know what? They're really good, especially with my knees. My family has genetic defects with knees. Thankfully, I've been spared from those, I guess, but I know that my knees have been issues in the past, and doing these warm-up routines has really been a huge benefit. So they also have a pretty good triathlon training plan. So if you just kind of need a basic training plan to go with, Dynamic Triathlete's got you covered on that front as well. So dynamictriathlete.com, use the offer code SWIM, SWIM, for 10% off of your subscription. Winds up being about $80, $80 a year, and about $8 a month if you want to go the monthly route. But make sure if you use the link, scroll all the way down. There is a lot of blah, 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 and most of it is about knees, hips, stuff like that, which isn't really stuff that we're talking about. So just scroll all the way down, check out the routines, check out the video, 7-day free trial. So you can kind of poke around the app, see what you like, and if you don't like it, cancel it. But trust me, stretching, mobility, range of motion, that is huge for swimming. And I guarantee you get this app, especially for those of you that are hardcore runners and or cyclists. Your hips are going to need a lot more work, and we're going to talk a lot about that next week in the kicking segment. Make sure that you're starting to unlock your hips, start stretching routines. It's really going to help you with injuries. Also is just going to help you out with your swim technique overall. Dynamictriathlete.com, offer code SWIM, SWIM, for 10% off your order. So also, if you like what you see here, check out my link tree. This is where all of my stuff, both video game streaming and Feral Swim Tech related, are. I do in-person lessons in the Los Angeles County area. I'm based out of Glendora, California, and I do all my lessons out of our high school. And I know it's a little rough to get to my area when I do my swim lessons, but if you live in the greater Los Angeles County area, Western San Bernardino, OC County, Northern San Diego County, even Southern Ventura County, if you want to do a lesson with me, email me, feralswimtech@gmail.com. Any questions about this and or any other stream whatsoever, feralswimtech@gmail.com. Instagram, Feral Swim Tech. I need to make some more posts. YouTube and Rumble. So check the stream. Check me out on any of those platforms. All of my past broadcasts eventually get uploaded to that. So that's how you can get in touch with me. All right. So now we're gonna get back to the show. We're gonna talk more about so kind of what do we do in order to actually improve our body positioning in the water. So you got a couple different options here. So number one, work on the dry land. Mostly, I think this time around, what I'm really emphasizing is the abdominals, because every time I roll back around to do these, I kind of think of, okay, what's a different, is there a different way that I can explain this? Is there something I've picked up over the past couple of months that might be good to share? And I really think the engaging the abdominals and flattening out the back that way, giving your underside some support, I think that's going to be a really good way to get this, get your body positioning back under control. Because since our bodies act like teeter-totters, the water doesn't fully support us like concrete or the weight bench. And because of this, we need... excuse me. Dang it. I need to have like a yawn jar, or every time I put like a dime in a yawn jar or something like that. And then I have to take my kids out for ice cream whenever it gets full. So anyway, so with water like it is, and our bodies wired to where we don't want to put our faces in the water, because reality is we don't like putting our faces in the water, because for the majority of you, before you got into triathlon, think about it. How many times did you just swim for 20 to 30 minutes just keeping your face in the water? That's going to be a hard nobody. No one has done this outside of actual workout swimmers or competitive swimmers, okay? You fart around in your backyard pool, you're keeping your head out of the water. I mean, my mom was famous for this, man. My mom sports one of the bouffant hairstyles, and she does not get her hair wet. Like, we would go entire vacations to Lake Powell, and she would not get her hair wet unless she was, like, legitimately taking a shower off the back of the boat. That is the only time she ever got her hair wet. She would go tubing with us and still not get her hair wet. We're just, hair jokes aside, perm aside, we don't really want to get our hair, we don't really want to get our hair. We don't like to keep our face in the water. And that's one of the mental items that we need to get over when we really start this journey into freestyle. We need to understand that. We need to even understand, even if we've been swimming for a while, there still might be a thing where you're not used to swimming with your face in the water. I've been doing the swimming thing ever since I was in the 3rd grade. In the late 80s, early 90s was when I started swimming, competitively. I started, in our little podunk, summer teams and stuff like that. So I've been doing this a really long time. That's why for me, just hopping in and swimming a mile. Like, I just swim a mile and just, okay, all right, just swim a mile. This isn't like okay, I got to prepare. No, I'm just going to go and swim a mile. I don't care. Whatever. It's something that develops over time. So for all of you that are really trying to learn this, you need to understand this. I might still have a phobia of putting my face in the water, okay? So what do we need to do? Well, what we need to do is we need to become way more comfortable putting our face in the water, and the number one way you're going to do this is with a snorkel. 100%, I recommend you buy a snorkel. Snorkel, to me, it's the best, about $35 investment you can make. If you check the link tree, here, let me show you real quick. If you check the link tree, I'll show you my recommendation for a snorkel. So you go to the link tree, scroll all the way down to my swim gear recommendations, and then you're going to see right here this Finnis snorkel, which, hey, Finnis, we talked about Finnis a couple weeks ago with the fancy pants speed suit, which, yes, same company. This snorkel by Finnis is my favorite snorkel. It just works. It works great. And you see, it's only $32 on sale now. But if you click using my link in the description, you'll wind up helping me out. If you use the Linktree link, this link tree link will connect you to my Amazon account, and not my Amazon account, but my affiliate account. And yes, I will receive a small portion if you decide to buy. But anyway, so the snorkel, because what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to put your face flat on the water. Okay, so what we're going to want to really work on in the water is streamlining. Okay, so streamlining is the technique where you push off the wall, looking like a torpedo, and just okay. Yeah, I didn't have a streamline video ready to go. But anyway, it's this underwater, okay? So basics for streamline, okay? You want to put right hand over left hand, put your fingers and then lock the thumb over your top thumb over your hands, okay? So this is the basic streamline, okay? So then this is not a basic streamline, okay? This is not a basic streamline. We want to reach the hands over, and we want to tighten the arms so we have a nice solid reach, okay? What we're envisioning is our hands are the tip of a spear. The tip of the spear is going to pierce the water, and we're just going to keep going, okay? So streamlining for triathletes is not important. Let me just tell you that right now. Unless you're doing sprint triathlons that involve a pool swim, your streamline is not that important. However, okay, you gotta learn some swim techniques in order to help the overall swimming capabilities, okay? Learning a flip turn is beneficial to your training. Learning a streamline is beneficial to your training, okay? So the first couple things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to learn how to push off the wall under the water, okay? And this is really how you're going to work on your body positioning, okay? Because if you push off underwater, you need to have your arms nice and rigid right here in a streamline, okay? So the way that you're going to work on this on land is do you see what I'm doing? I just put my hand over hand, curve that, you see my thumb over here? Curve that thumb over, and then just reach and extend, okay? As you reach and extend, your arms are going to want to do this, okay? Your arms are going to want to just naturally, if you try and put them up to the sky, the arms are naturally going to want to separate, okay? Because you have to actually engage. If all you're doing is reaching, your arms will split to the side. And it's just the way the shoulders are configured. You have to actually draw your biceps in. You know, you're going to be I don't know what the heck you're drawing. What am I drawing? I'm kind of drawing in this area right in here in your upper chest. You have to draw that in. But here's a cheat. If you hook that thumb over, all you got to do is reach up. You don't have to engage that upper area of the chest. And you can just reach up here. You want your arms on either side of your head, okay? So you just want them here. If your ears are touching your arms, you've done it right, okay? So just work on this position on land, and then turn it to the side and see if, I know I'm totally leaning back in my chair, and check and see if your arms are reaching up towards the sky. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to push off under the water. And when you're pushing off underwater, let's see here. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. So this is Swim Technique TV. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is how we're gonna do streamline underneath the water, and you'll quickly see why learning how to streamline underwater will greatly help you understand your body positioning in the water. Okay, now the fun thing about streamlines doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't really take a lot of effort, and it's kind of fun to do. You can have competitions with your friends to see who can glide the furthest. I do this with my kids all the time. I want to see how far they can get off the wall with just a push and glide. Remember, glide is no arms, no legs. You're just pushing off. And what I like to envision, and this is my stupid spaceman theory, you're pushing off from the ground and you're jumping into the sky and you're flying out of the atmosphere. You're a rocket man, and that's all the lyrics that I know of that song. So you want to push off and envision the sky is over here. Here's the ground, okay? So you're going to come underwater, okay? You're going to get underwater, and what you're going to do, you see this? This looks like a jump, okay? So we want to have our legs in about a 90-degree position. We want to have our arms pointed in the right direction, okay? Now look at that. That is a well-seasoned swimmer streamline, okay? What do we notice? Flat back, flat legs. Everything is in a line. Exactly what we worked on back there, okay? Engage the abs, get a flat back, get that nice line underneath the water, okay? So you see him, he just sails, okay? So now he's going to add some dolphin kick on this one, okay? You don't need to do this just yet. Now, that's a backstroke. This is what I did a lot. That, my friends, my friends, is how I earned, this is how I earned my scholarship back in college. Being able to do this pretty well, except I use nose plugs because I'm not an idiot. So then also, when you do a magical flip turn, ew, that flip turn was not that great. You want to do your streamline off the wall whenever you push off, okay? Once you start learning this streamline, folks, okay, this is what you want to aspire to. We're gonna give them a thumbs up on that one because that's a decent video. So you really want to work on this streamline, and I guarantee you work on your streamline, you're going to work on your body positioning. Now, what's going to happen? Okay? If your lower back is engaged, whoop, your arms are going to be pointed backwards. That's going to bring you right up to the surface, okay? So if you find yourself, whoop, right up to the surface, what you need to do is you need to work on engaging those abs and just learning how to reach up, okay? Now, like I said, now that we're in the off season, you can spend time working on this, okay? Spend time working on this stuff. You know, get in, swim a couple lengths of a warm-up, do 15 or 20 wall push-offs. Just push off the wall. What I have my kids do, almost every single lesson I do with any kid that I work with, we do underwaters, because underwaters in pool swimming are king. If you have a good underwater, this is how I destroy most of the high school kids that I train with. I destroy them on the walls because I have a good underwater. Even at 40, almost, I turn 41 next month. Even at 40 years old, I'm dusting all of these high school kids because my underwaters are good, okay? So you need to, practicing your underwaters okay, so for pool swimmers, underwaters are king. For triathlon swimmers, underwaters will help you understand your body positioning, okay? And on top of that, it makes you look less like a triathlete swimmer wannabe and more like you actually belong there. Okay? So practice this. 15, 20 pushes before you start any training. You know, get some warm up in, get loose, get in the water, get used to the water temperature, then get under the water and push off, okay? And especially for a lot of you new swimmers, this is something you're going to want to do to help calibrate yourself to being okay underneath the water, all right? So we're going to finish off today's discussion kind of talking about that, because I understand a lot of you that are going to be watching this video series, you're going to be people that are frustrated with swimming, you're frustrated with not getting anywhere, you know, you're at that 2-minute range, you know, you're just like, okay, I know I have a lot of things wrong. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with it, with my stroke technique. Also, there's going to be a lot of people that are saying, you know what, I tried to do the open water swim, I panicked, I had to cling to a life raft, and I couldn't complete the swim. I'm there for you, because swimming is scary, okay? Swimming, in like, I 100% understand the feeling, and some of you may be thinking, yeah, right, Mr. All-American NCAA swimmer here knows what it's like to panic. Actually, I do. My first open water race was in Malibu, California, and I must openly admit I was hoping for the 10-foot waves because I'm also a surfer, so I know I'm not surfing the 10-foot waves because I'm a big old wuss cake, and I also have an 8-foot fish, okay? You don't surf gigantar waves with a 10-foot fish unless you really know what you're doing, which I'm a total filthy casual surfer, okay? So, but even then, I know how to deal with a 10-foot wave. But I got out that 150 plus meters out and started swimming northbound. I looked down and I go, holy shizballs, there is nothing underneath me. I can't see jack diddly crap. My mind freaked out a little bit. I panicked. I did. But I calmed myself down, took a couple more strokes. I noticed a guy who was doggy paddling right next to me. I said, okay, at least I'm not this guy. And I just kept swimming. And then I calmed myself down and realized, okay, this is just water. This is just like the pool. I just got to pop my head out every once in a while and make sure I'm not veering off towards Hawaii. So you know, this idea that if you panic and you DNF a swim, this is incurable. Okay, don't think this is incurable. You need to take time. Doing underwater streamlines and being fully submerged. Like, I can't tell you how many people send me video that I see, boop, you know, you just push off right at the water surface. I highly recommend against this, okay? Anyone and everyone that's watching this broadcast, make it a goal, make it your life's mission to push off underwater every time you swim any length in any pool. Okay? Make it your life's goal. Okay, I'll give you a warm up and warm down. Okay, warm up and warm down. You want to push off at the water surface, go right on ahead. I'll give you that grace, okay? Other than that, push off underneath the water. Please. It's going to make you a better swimmer. It's going to help you be more accustomed to being in the water, okay? And that's kind of the last major point that I want to talk about on this is become accustomed to the water. Spend some time underwater. Spend some time learning how to sit at the bottom of the pool, okay? Not the 12-foot deep area, like the 4-foot area, okay? Just let the air out of your lungs, because the number one thing you got to remember is your lungs are ballast, okay? Your lungs are big balloons, okay? Your lungs are huge balloons. The more you inhale, if you go like that, you're gonna go right to the water surface, okay? Oh, by the way, I figured out my son totally picked up on my onomatopoeias last night. He was telling us a story. This is my 4-year-old, and he goes, and then I was whoop, and then I was whoop, and then I was zoom. I'm like, oh no, my son picked up on my onomatopoeias. Oh crap. But you know what? He's also 4, and he speaks conversational English, which I could say is way better than I was when I was 4 years old, okay? My son is doing the baby burrito. We nicknamed his so all 3 of my kids have kind of code words, you know, your screen names that I call them when I talk about them on my stream. So my oldest daughter self-glossed as Peanut. My middle daughter goes by Minty. I'm like, okay, if that winds up becoming your stripper name, I have failed as a parent. And then my son is actually the burrito. Because I'd wrap him up and I'd always call him the baby burrito when he was all wrapped up as a newborn. So the name just stuck. So he's just the burrito. I said that in front of my wife the other day. I'm like, yeah, because I didn't want to call him out by name at this specific instance we were talking about. So I was like, yeah, the burrito. She just goes, what? I'm like, our son, the baby burrito. She goes, you still call him that? I'm like, that's just what he gets called on stream. I do name drop my kids every once in a while. My buddies are like, dude, you just name drop your kids. I'm like, dang it. Streamer habits. Anyway, so spend time being underwater. Spend time being calm underwater. Okay, like I said, this is off season for most of us. There's La Quinta, Ironman, La Quinta coming up. There's a couple big races coming up, and after that, you got at least 3-4 months. Okay, relax your swim training a little bit and spend a lot more time doing the kind of quality of life stuffs. Okay, quit grinding out 2,000 yards every single workout. Just quit doing that. Spend some time underwater. Spend some time learning flip turns. Spend some time learning underwater push-offs. Just push off the water underneath the water. Like seriously, spend a whole workout doing nothing but that. and just see what happens. Make modifications, play around with it, engage the abs, engage the lower back, bring your hands forward, okay? See what happens, all right? So the only thing is be prepared to catch yourself if you go forward and you just go shoom. Okay, I've had it with kids that have almost scraped their nose on the bottom of the pool. I'm like, let's not scrape our nose on the bottom of the pool, kids. Yeah, it actually is best if you have a place that actually either uses Mirtha, which is kind of like that. It's kind of like the rubbery texture. It's called Mirtha pools. I hate those pools. Basically you take a box cutter and that pool is screwed. So don't. That's not a rule number 6 challenge. Everything is a challenge. Do not ever take knives into public places unless you're like a bad and you're a hunter and that's just what you do. But don't take a knife into a pool, okay? There's very few reasons why you should ever take a knife into a pool, and especially if it's a Mirtha pool, you will destroy the pool. I'm sorry, I'm really kind of wandering here at the end. My ADHD is truly showing right now. I do apologize if you're watching this and be like, what the crap is this guy talking about? Anyway, all that aside, don't scrape your nose on the bottom of the pool. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, the more time you spend being comfortable in the pool, I guarantee you, your training sessions are going to become a lot more comfortable, okay? So that's going to be it for the stream today. So basically, just to kind of sum everything up, work on reaching up to the sky, work on engaging your abdominals more to flatten that back out, and just to give you one more vision of what we're aiming for is this dude hanging out in the water, okay? This dude is our hero of the day because he has a darn near perfect streamline, okay? This is what we want, okay? So anyway, continue working, my friends. feralswimtech@gmail.com. I still have plenty of opportunities to do stroke technique videos for you. Send me footage. I'll review it, get you a video done within a week. Usually I'm about good getting it done within a week. Sometimes I'm able to kind of fast track it if I have a block of time that I find. But usually about a week is my turnaround rate right now. Just got one done last week. So yeah, feralswimtech@gmail.com. Talk to me about it. I got a little canned response on angles and stuff like that. Feral Swim Tech on Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble. So, yeah, so that's going to be it for me today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I do apologize for not sending out a pre-message yesterday. So most of you are going to be watching this on VOD, which all the VODs are here on Team Zoot's Facebook page, as well as YouTube and Rumble. So once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope these lessons really help and just kind of my insane ramblings make sense. Next week, we're going to be talking about kicking, okay? We're going to be talking about kicking, a lot about the mechanics of kick, what we want to avoid, things of that nature, and you're going to see why we talked a lot about straightening the legs, straightening the body position. A lot of that, a lot of that's going to make sense next week. Okay, so keep training, my friends. Good luck to anyone who has any races coming up. And until later, my friends, good night, Isaiah Norris. Wherever you are, I'm out of here. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.